Welcome back to the channel, guys. Kerrod here in the studio at Joondalup Resort, and in this video it's all about helping those of you who tend to top the golf ball, or when the golf club comes in too high, hits the equator of the ball and runs along the ground, or indeed just pops up just a few feet in front. If you're struggling with this error, make sure you watch this video. It's really going to help. Let's get into it. Now, the number one fundamental of golf is creating a consistent and predictable impact of that club striking the ball. And there's really two main shots that the average recreational golfer struggles with more than anything. And that's a shot where they hit too much ground or indeed don't hit enough and that golf club comes in too high, resulting in a thin shot where you hit the equator of the ball, or a top shot where you hit right on top of the golf ball and it just pops up in front of you. Pretty frustrating, both of them, but in this video, I'm gonna be showing you exactly how to eliminate that top shot, and my big 3 keys to do so. But before we get stuck into it, please go down below. Please click subscribe, click that little bell so you get notified of any upcoming videos just like this to help your game in the months ahead and get you lowering that handicap. Okay, so let's talk about number 1 of my 3 tips to help you eliminate the top shot. The first is ball position. So what we've got down on the ground here is a white stick, and this is just going to be representative of the center of my stance. And what I've got here as well is a quarter of a hula hoop. And effectively what this is going to do is this is going to highlight the path of the club as it makes its way down towards the bottom of the arc and then rises again. So if I lay this down onto the ground in this position, what we know with the best golfers in the world is the golf club would have a descending blow on the golf ball. So it would hit the golf ball, have a bottom where this little black line is, and then rise again. Now, if we move the bottom of that arc too far around based on our ball position, so what that means would be that if I have the ball too far back in my stance or too far forward in the stance, what this does is that shifts that arc or the bottom of the arc around too much. So for example, let's say I have the ball position too far back, and all things being equal, the bottom of my swing is going to be in the correct spot. We can see if I put this into this position, as the golf club comes in, it would come in too high relative to the ball and would hit right on top. The opposite is going to happen as well if we move the ball too far forward in our stance. So the bottom of the swing would be behind, the golf club descends, 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 has a bottom back here, and then it's rising, and it's going to rise so much, it's just going to hit the top of the ball, and that can also result in a thin shot or a top shot. So getting your ball position correct, number 1, is going to help massively with eliminating that top shot. So what I would like to see, general point of reference for every club, when the ball's on the ground, you're just going to get your club head and you're going to measure a comfortable club head distance between the inside of your front foot, left foot for me being a right-hander, and where that ball position would be located. Right in that position there, all things being equal, if I make a centered pivot and return back to that point, I would get a descending blow on the golf ball, striking more towards the center of the club, and that'll help it get up in the air. So that's fix number 1. Fix number 2 has all to do with how you move your body throughout the backswing and the downswing. So if I set up to this golf ball and I've got my good ball position, if I'm a player who tends to drift a lot off the golf ball, well, from back here, it's a hell of a long way to get back to that ball. And effectively what's going to happen is the bottom of my arc would be too far behind, and once again the club's going to rise, more than likely going to top the ball. Now, the opposite doesn't happen very so often, but for those of you who might tend to have a bit of a reverse pivot, or when your upper body goes forward towards a target and your hips go back, that can also encourage you to have a bottom of a swing which is too far forward, and then you can hit the top of the ball from that position. So real easy drill to practice. Effectively, you're going to get into this position. You're going to measure that club head distance for your ball position. And then what I want you to do is just make some slow backswing rehearsals, feeling like your head stays dead still. Now, notice when I'm doing so, I am still turning, but I'm certainly not swaying away from the target or swaying too much towards the target. So just bring some awareness to your head. The more stable you keep that in the backswing and in the downswing, moving through impact, more than likely you're going to eliminate that top shot if this error pertains exactly to you. Okay, so we've got ball position number 1. We need to make sure that's in the correct spot. And we need to make a relatively centered turn or pivot in the backswing and the downswing. That's going to help eliminate the top shots as well. And the third and final is all to do with the structure of your arms. Now, the cause of why your arms can break down, meaning they fold up close to your body, can be attributed to your grip or your wrist conditions or simply the angle that the golf club comes down into the ball. But for simplicity's sakes, we're just going to talk about keeping your arms straight relative to bending them. So in the address position, we've got our ball position. I'm feeling like I'm maintaining a centered turn with my head staying still, but I want to make sure that my arms are staying long. So from the address position, we create a certain structure to my arms. You can see the club shaft and my lead arm form somewhat of a straight line, and my right arm sits on the back of that, creating a Y structure. Effectively, what we want to do is try and keep these arms as long as we can in the backswing. Yeah, we're going to have a little bend with that back arm as we get to the top, and as it moves back down and through the golf ball, they'll straighten again. But if we're a player who, as they take the golf club back, assuming they've got a good ball position and assuming they make a center turn, but their arms fold up, effectively what happens is the distance that golf club is away from your body gets narrower, and therefore as they start to return back to the golf ball, that club's going to lift up too high, more than likely going to hit the top of the golf ball, and you're going to experience the same result. So our 3 main keys in a recap: we're going to have our ball position, one club head inside the lead foot. We're going to keep our head still in the backswing, and we're going to keep our arms long throughout the entirety of the motion. Let's hit one down there with a combination of those 3, and let's see how it works. So we've got good ball position. We're going to make a centered turn. We're going to keep our arms long, and the strike, beautiful, straight off the center of the face. So if you are indeed struggling with the top shots, try these 3 keys, and I'm sure they will help massively with creating some consistency and some predictability to that contact. Start off slow, build up, and in no time, you'll be finding the center of that club face. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please go down below, please click like and subscribe. Comment if you got any questions, but until next time, I'm Kerrod Gray. Thanks for watching.